So Jarvis, my beagle, passed away on Friday, and I don't know. I thought I'd let you know since he's been part of the vlogs, and it actually happened while I was filming the next live trading video for this month. So I decided to record it last week because it was elections and FOMC announcements. So a lot of things to potentially move the market. So you'll probably see the reaction of when I found out. But what happened was Jarvis was recently hospitalized because he had a loss of appetite, which is very unusual for him. And he had some swelling on the side of his stomach. So we took him into the vet. They did an x ray on him. And what they found was that he ate a bunch of paper towels. So they were like either A, he has to pull it out. And if he can't, then B, they have to perform some sort of operation on him to manually pull it out of his stomach. So we brought him home, and thankfully he was able to pull everything out, or I think he did. Can't confirm it was paper towels, but it was definitely not food. And then for the next few days, he seemed like he was getting better, started eating again. So I was like, cool. And then out of nowhere, just one night, he started to get some crazy shivers, started shaking a lot, and just looked like he was in some real pain, like emergency pain. So we ended up taking him to the emergency room that night. And this time they did some sort of MRI on him. And what they found was that he had some sort of infection in his bladder that spread to his kidneys that may now be cancer. So they had to hospitalize him for a few days in intensive care because he couldn't eat or drink on his own. So they had to feed him through tubes. And we were waiting for some few test results to come back. And once they did, it was confirmed that it was cancer now. So it got to a point where they're like, the next best option is to do a euthanasia. And that's where you give them the shot to kind of painlessly send them away, basically pulling the plug on them, right? So I'm like, okay, I just need a second opinion on this. So I called my cousin who lives up north, who recently became a vet. So I send her all the stuff. She talks to the doctor, and she's like, yeah, if he's not able to eat and drink on his own, then there's no way for him to recover. So the next best option would be euthanasia. So I'm like, shit, okay. So once he was stable enough, they were like, okay, we're going to send him home. We're going to give you some appetite enhancer drugs. So hopefully he can start eating. Then he'll be able to recover. Because the cancer itself wasn't really the issue here. It was the fact that he completely lost his appetite. So we brought him home, and then I just brought out all the big guns. I mean, all his favorite foods, cooked up sweet potatoes, broccoli, mixed it all up in ground beef, and gave it to him. And thank goodness he gobbled it right up. I mean, we didn't even need the appetite enhancers. He just completely destroyed it. So very good news. You know, I was like, parents know him best. Called the doctors. They're like super happy. Yeah. So then I started to cook all of his meals from then on. And for the next week, he started to recover, and he was like 95% back to himself, like nothing happened. But now, you know, he's just has to live with the cancer now, which is manageable. We just need to go for checkups and just make sure it's not getting out of whack. And then on Thursday, we let him out into the backyard to go pee, and then he like collapses. He didn't faint or anything, but he was like crawling, like he couldn't use his back two legs, and he couldn't pee or poop properly. So I'm like, shit, now what? Like, did he hurt himself? What happened here? Because he's been dealing with some arthritis as well. So we called the doctor, and they're like, that's not anything to do with the cancer. It's something else. It might be a spinal injury, which he has dealt with in the past a few times, but not to this extreme. And they're like, if it is, he's most likely paralyzed. So I mean, I'm like, this is it now, this might be it. So we did schedule a euthanasia, just in case. But we wanted to give it a night because it wasn't like he was in pain or anything. It's just he couldn't use his back two legs for some reason. So I slept with them on that one more night, and then in the morning I went to check up, and it didn't seem like he was worse or better, just the same, no pain, just couldn't use his legs. So I was like, all right, you know what? Forget the euthanasia. I'm going to take him in one more time, just check everything out, make sure to see what this actually is, and then go from there. So the vet wasn't open yet. So I put him in the living room. I came to the office to market prep and get ready to trade the open. And then I did all that. And then once I stepped off the mic, that's when Janet came into the office. And right then I already knew, because Janet rarely comes into the office. And then the look on her face just said it all. So I ran over there, and then I see him laying there in his bed. And my first reaction was just bursting out into tears and saying I'm sorry, because just the thought of his last minute, being alone, and how scared he must have felt, I just felt so guilty. But once I found out that Janet actually woke up early and was kind of checking up on him, even gave him a bath because he pooed on himself, just that kind of gave me some comfort. But yeah, after that, we didn't know what to do, so we called our vet, and they told us, just come in, bring him in. We'll give you some options, and then we'll go from there, take care of everything else. And he's been going to that vet since he was a puppy, so they all know him really well. So we brought him in, said our final goodbyes, and that was kind of it. And then we just kind of spent the weekend going through old videos, old photos, and just reflecting on his life. And what I found was some peace. I came to the realization of, there's people out there who kind of don't want pets for this exact reason. Like, they have such a short lifespan, and we get way too attached to them. Or people who don't want kids because they don't want to make those sacrifices, which is totally understandable. I was one of those people. But having experienced both now, I can't imagine having to go through this one life that I have without ever experiencing the love and connection that I felt with Jarvis, or that I do with Tyson. I mean, this is something that can't be explained or experienced vicariously through movies or whatever. This is truly like one of the best experiences one can have in life, I feel. And it completely overshadows any negative aspects of it. So I feel super grateful and super thankful that I got to have this great, loving experience with Jarvis. And I do wish we could have spent one more holiday season with him. But just thankful that he did live a full life, and he passed in the comfort of our home. So it's just one of those things. I will definitely miss him. It sucks that it's over, but I'm 1000% more glad that it happened. So just reflecting on that kind of brought me some peace and just wanted to share that with you.